Well, good morning, everybody. How lovely to have you all here on what's a nice sunny Sunday morning in Coffs Harbour. I don't know what it's like where you are, but maybe you have nice blue skies above you. So, we're talking this morning about the journey of healing and maximizing Reiki's benefits. We've got two lovely guests, both of whom I know reasonably well. So Slavica Praporski, who is our Vice President with ARC, and also Gabrielle Collison. Gabby is a very interesting person, and I've had the privilege of working with her as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing what they both have to offer for us today. But in the meantime, why don't we just try and bring ourselves into a quiet space in preparation for this? I like to do a little bit of self Reiki with one hand on my heart and the other one down near my navel. And I find that's nice and calming and a lovely way to have the energy flowing through me when I meditate. But of course, you can do whatever feels right for you. So if we just either close our eyes or soft focus on that lovely cloud formation image that we have available, and just listen and feel our own breath when it's coming in and when it's going out. And every time we breathe in, we might want to think about the feeling of energy coming in. And when we breathe out, we might think about releasing tension and allowing ourselves to both physically and mentally relax, let the emotions still. And thoughts that come across our mindscape, we can just notice and let them float on by. We don't have to hold on to them. So feeling the breath in and out, and the energy flowing. Today, I'm aware that globally there is a lot of disquiet. People are hurting. Political decisions are not necessarily helping. If we hang on to the Reiki precepts, and especially that last one about showing compassion to all living things, showing kindness, all living things. When we Reiki ourselves, we're giving ourselves loving kindness. If we have the benefit of Reiki too, then obviously we can share that sense of loving kindness with others absently, even with those we don't know. But for all those who need our compassion. So feeling that flow and the easy breathing. The comfortable and relaxed state of our bodies. And the openness of our hearts. And the willingness to listen and share. Let's bring your awareness back to your hands. Take another breath or two, and when it feels right, just reopen your eyes and return your awareness to the space that you're in, and hopefully carry forward a feeling of peace and calm. And when everyone's ready, we'll commence with our first speaker. Okay. Well, hopefully you're all feeling somewhat chilled now. It's a nice thing to do on a Sunday morning. So first off, we have Slavica. Hi, Slavica. I'm really delighted to have you here. And I mean, we get to speak often because we're both on the committee of ARC, but it'll be nice to be speaking with you about your journey in Reiki and your discoveries on what it's been like for you to get where you are and how you've found you can maximize Reiki benefits for yourself, I am assuming, but also the wonderful clients and people that you get the opportunity to use Reiki with. And I was saying to Slavica earlier, she's one of those very smart people who I admire enormously. And it's not just because she's got those fancy qualifications, but she really is someone who has great intelligence and warmth at the same time. And so I love listening to her. And I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to share with us today. So Slavica, I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Sue, for introducing me. I'm glad to be here to present to you today, and our topic is the journey of healing and how we can maximize Reiki's benefits. And when I was thinking what I'm going to talk about, I thought I didn't think before I actually received something from John. He had ideas about what we can talk about, what any one of us Reiki practitioners can share. And my presentation is sort of based around his suggestions what to talk about, but I'll definitely share from my own experience as well. So I'm just checking to see who else is coming. I'm admitting people as well as I'm presenting, multitasking. So how we all come to Reiki, and in this room right now, we are all, I think we are all Reiki practitioners or had some experience of Reiki. And I haven't met a person yet who came to learning Reiki unless they needed some healing, either of physical body, or mental, or anything else spiritual. So we all come to this practice seeking healing, and the journey of healing is very unique to every person. What we know about Reiki is that it balances all our bodies, all our parts of our being, and as we practice Reiki, we experience this greater ease and freedom in the areas of where this healing is required. We know that Reiki can reveal, release, and restore at very different levels, as I said. And we know that this revelation and release happens non-linearly. Sometimes quite random, these effects come into play. And we learn to embrace this journey as we're opening, and there is guidance and support we can have from our Reiki practitioner, and we can learn Reiki and help ourselves. And that makes a great difference to have someone guide us through the process of healing. Now, John put this list together in what the stages are of Reiki healing journey. And as we know, initiation, it's that moment of that connection at our first session or when we become curious about Reiki. And some of us got into this work just out of curiosity. And for me, it was a combination. I knew about Reiki since I was a teenager, but then I was drawn to all sorts of other things. But I knew that one day I'm going to meet Reiki and learn about it and see what it is. So initiation for me was very early on. But my first session with Reiki, when I received healing from a very good friend of mine who was practicing on me after her level 1, I had this very big moment of really understanding that there is a lot more to us than what we are aware of. And a lot of things started unfolding for me after that first session. So I had regular treatments, and that's the phase of like a stage of exploration. When we have that first experience and we are curious, we become then more curious what's going on, how is this working, because we see the changes happening. And that leads us into that integration stage where these changes become part of daily life. And as we go through our treatments or we do self-Reiki, we see that happening all the time. And just understanding how that process unfolds is important. Going back to our teachers that taught us Reiki, or our practitioners that we go for sessions, that's our point of contact to ask questions and really empower ourselves. And that empowerment is becoming now our way of life, where we embrace that personal growth and inner strength that's developing, which ultimately leads to transformation, which is we experience profound shifts in how we perceive the world. Our perspective moves around to where it was, and as a result, our well-being is better. This is sort of something that we actually looked for, and we start getting that on a very deep level, which makes us happy, and that's why we love Reiki and share Reiki and always go back to it. So how we can maximize the benefits of Reiki? When we are practicing on ourselves, we want to commit to consistency. We learned through experience that effects of Reiki are cumulative. They grow in effect as we get more healing, and the same sort of principle applies to us for self-practice. The more regularly we practice and commit to that daily honoring of our practice, healing will compound and will be more and more pronounced. When we think of our healing journey and when we do Reiki, even as practitioners, there is a school that says like that we need to set an intention for the healing, and we need to be clear about what we seek. I also learned from some very what's the word? I'm sorry. Very experienced Reiki practitioners and masters who say that intention sometimes could be a limitation. And I learned from Sensei Hyaku Minamoto in one of his seminars that like we just place hands, we surrender and smile, and without the need to put anything there, fully trusting that Reiki will do what it needs to do. And that's that level where we still strive to get to. But when we get into setting intentions, I suggest you be as open as you can. And of course, keep in mind what is it that you need the help with. But be open to receive, because Reiki will go where it needs to go first. That's what I learned. And some things will come later, but things that are more crucial will come first. When you are attuned to Reiki, that happens in level 1, self-practice is very important, and we all know that. So that can support you on your own healing journey. It's important to create healing environment. As Reiki helps, we also need help Reiki in a sense that we listen to what we get out of that inner voice, that intuition. We need to adjust maybe our diet, help with our sleep. Again, comes to consistency of our daily routine. Check our surroundings. Maybe there is something we need to change to help our healing. Always stay open. And I say let go of expectations and just allow the process to unfold. There are some great things coming when we embark on a healing journey, and I bet you all know that. Other things that I like to suggest to my clients is to embark on a self-discovery through journaling. It's a very powerful tool to write down your experiences with what is, what changes, and sometimes looking back at what was and what is now, we can sort of see for ourselves in that material form, like, I had all these issues and now I don't. It's very powerful. It does help on a journey. If you have no meditation practice, I suggest you learn how to do it. If you do, stick with it. Sitting down and meditating, doing self-Reiki is one of the most powerful ways to allow our body to find balance and to recalibrate and find that energy that's deeply in us. We are connected. We just need to sit down and slow down and be mindful. That involves also our spiritual practice. Doesn't matter from which spiritual lineage we come. Also, on a healing point, as we know, Reiki is complementary. We can look for other therapies to support our healing. And we try to talk to our clients to see where the gaps are in their support that they need. We may want to have on hand recommendations for GPs that we know maybe, or other practitioners, naturopaths, or anything else, even massage therapists, and people that we can recommend for their healing journey to be enhanced. Always trust your intuition, and that will help you to know what works best for you. Deeply listen to what your body is telling you, what your mind is sort of flagging, but tap into that feeling, into your heart, and that's where intuition sits. It will tell you. We always recommend to book a Reiki session or commit to a treatment plan if you have something major you need to deal with. It's quite powerful to relax and receive healing from another. And since most of us in this room today are practitioners ourselves, we forget that sometimes we need to step away from the work we do and just allow ourselves to receive the healing from somebody else. So ask for that session from your good friend, the Reiki shares, and just allow yourself to also receive. If you haven't done Reiki level 1, it's definitely a best suggestion that all of us can give you, as learning Reiki opens so much on every level of your life. And it's nice also to join Reiki community or a discussion group, share the experiences, and learn from those who have had many different experiences in this field, and keep learning. Stay curious about your own path and healing and what can happen as you keep going, and always ask for help. A lot of us are trained or have been programmed since our early days to tough it out, to just deal with it, and we forgot that just asking for a bit of help or even just a conversation with somebody else can put us in the right direction. So don't stay hidden in your own pain. Ask for help, and that can open the door to healing. Now that's it for me. I'm gonna now ask Sue to take over and introduce our next speaker. Thank you all for listening, and after Gabby presents, we're gonna have some Q&As if you want to ask a question.
Thank you, Slavica. That was actually really lovely to listen to, and the points that you raised were very good, because there are differences in the way some people have learnt Reiki and how they approach it. And I personally like that you included the comment from Hyakutin, where, you know, about just get the hands on and then you can get out of your own way and just let it happen. Because sometimes people overanalyze, and it's actually really good to go with the flow. So obviously there's nothing wrong with setting intentions, but then we kind of have to stop analyzing and just get out of our own way. And I think that's a big part of just getting your hands on and trusting that something is happening. Anyway, thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Gabby, welcome. So,
hello, good morning, everybody.
Gabby has been doing Reiki for a very long time. She actually started her Reiki journey with my teacher's teacher, Beth Gray, and many years later, after having a very varied career, and I'm sure she'll allude to that, and it's pretty much had an involvement with healing the whole way in one way or another. She ended up coming and completing Reiki 2 with me, and I was delighted to have her at my seminars. She's a fascinating person, and I'm really looking forward to hearing her present today. And it's lovely to see you again, Gabby, because we live far apart. So we're in touch periodically, but we don't get to see each other very often at all. So I'm sure you'll bring some really lovely insights to today. And welcome, Gabby.
Thank you so much, Sue, for that intro. Oh, golly. Slavica, you're a hard act to follow. I was sitting here and I've learned quite a few things just listening to you. So thank you so much for sharing. Just a quick intro to my Reiki journey. In 1989, I'd never heard of Reiki, and a friend of mine introduced me. She said, look, I think you should come along to a workshop I'm going to. It was after I'd had thyroid cancer surgery and follow-up radiation treatment. And so I went along with an open mind. I had no idea what it was about. I just knew it was a form of healing. And thanks, Slavica. Next piece. And so I did Reiki 1 with Beth Gray, and Barbara McGregor was there assisting. Life takes us on all kinds of detours, and my life has especially given me a very rich number of detours. So fast forward to 2002, and my mum had cancer and she was in a hospice at the time. And I heard that there was a whole raft of volunteers, alternative healers that came to the hospice each week. And I heard there was a Reiki practitioner. So I encouraged Mum to try this. Mum was a very forthright and interesting person and very direct about what she liked and didn't like. And she didn't really take to the Reiki practitioner, unfortunately. But in my life, I always feel that it's not so much the messenger that's important. It's the message they have. And I think we can never really judge a book by its cover. So I was engaged with the Reiki practitioner who provided a couple of instances of support to me. I've got a frog in my throat. Just excuse me for a minute. So I was re-enchanted with Reiki at that point because I felt that on a couple of instances it was just like some kind of magic had happened to give me the strength to continue on with being the sole carer for Mum. Fast forward again, in 2016, I was a coordinator for wellbeing in an education workplace, and it was a volunteer job. It was in addition to my normal job. And I used to invite all kinds of alternative health practitioners in for a whole day once a year to give talks and samples. And I'd contacted the ARC and asked Tony, it was, who was the contact person, if there would be any Reiki person who would like to come and introduce my colleagues to Reiki and give them a sample. And that was a wonderful experience because at that time, Kamal Kaur came from the ARC, and she was a Reiki practitioner and gave a wonderful talk and samples to colleagues. Now, this was pre-COVID, so it really stood people in good stead, and there were a few colleagues who went and explored Reiki after that. Kamal then said to me in a conversation, "You should go back to Reiki. You would love it and you would be so great, and it would enhance your workplace here and your counselling practice." So I did that after 23 years at the coalface counselling young people. I realised I was in burnout, and so I engaged with Usui Network again, and found Sue and did Reiki 2 in 2021, I think it was. Yeah. And that was a wonderful experience, 2 or 3 days doing that. Then I just serendipitously was offered a room in the local beautician's practice to extend Reiki to others. And I'd also started, after Reiki 2, I had friends all over the world who really could benefit from Reiki. So I started giving Reiki to friends, and I was offered this room, and I kind of fell into Reiki practice. I hadn't set out to do that initially, but I just felt that I was being guided to do that by the universe, or whatever it is out there, that benign beneficence. So I started a Reiki practice then, and I realised very quickly that I needed to do some more background work, and which I did with Sue over, I think, Sue, it was about a 5-month period. I did the practitioner's course with you, and I am so grateful that I did that, because it gave me a multifaceted look at how to conduct a Reiki practice, and to give the clients who came seeking Reiki the best Reiki experience I could. So now we go to the next slide. Thank you, Slavica. It's like Reiki takes you across a bridge, the way I see it. And when clients come to me with multiple issues, I find that, first of all, it's very important, and as an ex-registered nurse and midwife, I feel that it's very important to get some kind of medical history on the client who comes, because very often they come with multi-level issues. There is first of all, the physical issue mostly that they come with, and then things like stress and anxiety that bring them there. But before that, it's very important to get that background, to understand what's going on also for them in their current life, what's happening now, as well as what has happened in the past. And people with stress and anxiety, it's a multifaceted issue. And it's not easy to treat somebody with these kinds of issues. Very often it's taken years for this issue, whatever it is, to manifest. And so to give them a little bit of help to come into the now when they come in for Reiki treatment. So as I said, I've taken a background history into what's brought them for Reiki treatment, as well as health issues, past and present, to get a holistic understanding of the person. That then takes me on a journey to help them across the bridge from scream, which very often they come in all tense and tight, to take them from scream to serene across that bridge. I've given some examples here where you see all these spiky things that people come in with. And I often think some people come in like a pretzel, or they come in and they just talk. You can barely get a word in edgeways. And that's really very important, to listen, not just with my ear, but my eyes as well, to notice what's going on in their face, the color of their face when they're talking, their expression, and also to listen with my heart. So the ear is really a multifaceted thing we have, because it extends to these two things, the eyes and the heart. I've had a couple of people with very severe stress, and I felt that for me, in my practice, ethics is very essential. So in saying that, ethical practice for me, my personal view, is giving the client or the seeker the best Reiki treatment possible, and to look at what's best for them. Not what I think, but to get a sense of what might be best for them. Also, that often extends to referring them out for extra support. Now, having said that, you'll see with those spiky things on one side of the bridge, I've had a couple of clients with PTSD, and I've got a little asterisk next to that. And that is so that I don't wish to treat anybody with a very serious mental health issue like that unless we have the support of a psychologist or a psychiatrist. It just depends on what the client's personal preference is. And I explain to them the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist, so that it's then up to the client to decide, first of all, if they'll take that option up, and secondly, which option they might take. I say to them, and very strong in my encouragement for these serious kind of things. Also depression. I've had a couple of clients with very serious depression, and I've said to them, look, I'm more than happy to support you, and I'm open and willing to doing that, but I think you need someone else on your team to support you, and I strongly encourage you to go and seek extra support. And sometimes they do that, or I don't see them again, and I hope they've gone to get that expert support that they need. I've also had clients with quite serious physical issues, and again, I've strongly encouraged them to seek the support of a GP in the first instance, and possibly to get a referral to a specialist. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they never come back. So I don't know, again, as I said before, I don't know whether they've gone to get that extra support and they've gone down another rabbit hole of treatment and on their health journey, or whether they've not enjoyed my suggestion and not come back. I'll not know that. But there are a few that continue to come back and do seek extra support, and that's the best of all. I've had, as you see there, a couple of people with IBS and irritable bowel syndrome, and that's quite a tricky one as well. I've had 2 clients with that, and they've gone to dietitians and the GP and reflexologist. So I often say to people, you're like an Olympic athlete. You really need a team to help you, because every Olympic athlete has a team of people behind the scenes who support them to live the best life they can, to gain the quality of life and a feeling of well-being. And if we now look at the other side of this Japanese kind of bridge here, I found in my own personal experience of receiving Reiki and in giving Reiki, as I said earlier, sometimes people come in for a session and they're all, you can see the stress in their face and the pace of their voice and the tone of their voice, and all the physical signs are there. And after a treatment of Reiki, they literally float out the door sometimes. And that is wonderful for me to see, because it re-encourages me to believe in Reiki. Each time a client comes in all knotted up physically and emotionally, and then they float out the door, it reinforces for me the effect that Reiki can have, the wonderful effects that Reiki can have, not only on the physical level, but on the emotional level, relaxing the parasympathetic nervous system and releasing all those happy chemicals in the brain. I sometimes wish that there was more scientific research that has been done on Reiki, because it would probably enhance the efficacy of Reiki for mainstream medicine. Some of the other benefits Oh, Slavica, could we just go back briefly? Thank you. Thank you so much. It intensifies mental and emotional clarity, along with that wonderful, deep sense of relaxation. And it restores emotional calm for people. I have somebody else who comes to me for depression, but she also has quite severe arthritis in the joints. And she tells me that after a Reiki treatment, the pain in the joints diminishes for a day or two. She gets some relief. Another patient or client tells me that she has constant ringing in the ears, and she didn't come to me for that, but that's something she's noticed, that after a Reiki treatment, the ringing in the ears disappears for a day or so. So as Sue said earlier, and Slavica, that we don't really know the effect that Reiki brings to a client. We're just there as the conduit. And even though I ask people what's brought them for Reiki treatment or what historical aspects there are, when I sit down, I just allow Reiki to flow through me to the client and see what they report after the session. I'll always say to them, how are you feeling now? Is there anything else that we can do for you today? And yeah, so thanks, Slavica. For next slide, please. So people do find that Reiki takes them beyond what they can imagine, especially the first couple of treatments. I've had people say to me, use adjectives like, it's a wonderful experience, or, oh, it's like magic. How did you do that? I feel so much better, or, oh, I feel really floaty, or these kinds of responses that I'm sure as practitioners we hear all the time. Having said that, I always check with someone before they get off the table. I make sure that they sit on the table for a couple of minutes before they stand up. And then as they're going towards the door, I always ask them, do you feel okay? You know, are your 2 feet back safely on the ground? And do you feel okay to drive? And be careful. Those that don't drive, I say to them, please take extra care crossing the road, because you might be still feeling the effects of the Reiki treatment. And they look at me a bit puzzled. But as a practitioner, I feel that that's duty of care to make sure that someone feels completely back in the now and that they feel able to drive or cross the road competently and those sorts of things. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, Gabby. So I know you're somewhat unaccustomed to public speaking, and I think this is your first foray into presenting in an online forum. Is that correct?
I haven't done it for about 3 years, but I used to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have you back in that regard. So thank you very much. And it was very interesting to hear about sort of where you came from, how you stepped away for a little while, came back in again, and then moved forward. And I'm glad you decided to follow through on where you felt you were being led in becoming a practitioner, because with your other background in the other things that you had been doing in the past and with your counselling and so on, I know how beneficial that can be when you're doing one-on-one practitioner work. So I'm glad you came along today and shared some of your insights and your thoughts on things. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sue. That's very kind, your kind words. And
But-
thank you to Slavica for inviting me.
Well, it was really lovely actually to have both of you and to be able to listen to you both have a little bit more time, because sometimes when we've got 3 or 4 presenters, it can feel a little bit rushed. It was nice to feel as though we had the time to sit with your thoughts and your comments and to consider where they were taking us. So I appreciate that enormously. Now, of course, we have the opportunity for some Q&A. So if anybody wants to raise a hand or whatever, and then you can go ahead. If you're addressing your question generally, then obviously you can just do that. But if you wanted to ask a specific guest, you can go ahead and do that too. So it looks like Anne wants to. So, okay.
Yeah, it's not a question, but I was introduced to my Reiki master by a friend when I was going through a stressful time in my life in 97. And the Reiki master invited me on the table together with 4 of her students. So the 5 women put their hands on me and the Reiki master on my head and the other women on my body. And after half an hour, they said, "Oh, it's time to leave because you don't know what we keep doing." So I walked to the car and I thought, what? Didn't notice anything. But the first weekend after that, I decided to do level 1. And within a couple of hours, I thought, yes. So it's every time it can be different. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Who wants to go next? So I'm going to ask a question that could be considered a little bit controversial. Do you mind if I ask each of you roughly how many years it is that you've been doing Reiki, but also, if it's not considered a rude question, what your ages are now, in rough terms? You don't have to give us the exact one. I'm just interested to know, because some of us have been doing it for a long time and some of us for less time. So yeah, if you don't mind.
Gabby, you want to go first or shall I take it?
Okay.
You go first.
Well, you go first, Slavica.
Okay, I'll be quick. I've been attuned to Reiki 1 in 2018. 3 months later, Reiki level 2. And this is basically the moment Reiki level 2 attunement helped me do what I actually set out myself as a reason to do Reiki. My sister was overseas and she had pre-MS symptoms. She was not well at all. And that pushed me actually to do Reiki training so I can send the distant Reiki. I couldn't go and see her or support her in any other way. So I started doing distant Reiki literally from after the weekend of attunement. I just started, and like in 5-6 months period, she completely cleared of all the symptoms. She did her own Reiki level 1 training over there. Her husband did it, and they started actually practicing Reiki as well. So for me, that was just a sign like this works. Like I didn't need any more confirmation or evidence coming back from science research, medical research. I thought like, this is my personal proof. And I always say like, just have a go with it. You won't need papers or justification why things work. They just work. And I started, then I started treating others. And actually my clients forced me to open a business. They said, you can't do this for free. I mean, there needs to be an exchange. And that's how I started my practice. And I do hands-on Reiki, traditional way, and distant, both of them. and mostly distant, because a lot of my clients they have lack of time. So they found through me just explaining how it worked for one person, why don't you try? I always go like, why don't you try? You have nothing to lose. Money back can guarantee. And I never had anyone say it didn't help. So it's just a magical thing. And I'm 50 now. I'm going to be 51 in December. So I'm still a baby, but I love it. So you are muted.
I'm not now. I was just going to say the big 50 and 51 in December. So I'm basically 10 years older than you. So next month is my 61st birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Gabby.
Well, I'm 10 years older than you, Sue. I turned the big 70 this year.
What a lovely synchronistic range of ages.
Yes. I feel that I'm 70 on the outside, but 35 on the inside.
I think a lot of us can relate to that. So, you started your Reiki way back in the 1980s. So you've actually been doing this for a very long time now. And I've noticed a few other people putting up their ages and when they did Reiki, which is interesting. But if it's okay with everyone, and I'm happy for you to keep doing that, I'll come back to Sharon's question, which was, she wanted to ask you, Slavitsa, about meditation and if self-Reiki can be regarded as a type of meditation. I know what my answer to that would be, but what's yours?
So my answer to that is, so I came into Reiki level 1 training with my previous meditation training. So I've been doing yoga and meditation since 2007, and I'm also a yoga teacher. So I had an established meditation practice already. So actually Reiki was my add-on to meditation. And from the perspective of just having a meditation without Reiki, I can see the difference. Reiki, so it's like, for me, it's a combined thing. But there are many ways to meditate, and I guess you learn any way to meditate and add Reiki to it. It's like super cool. And it just opens up so much more. And it's a daily thing for me. So yeah.
Okay. So Sharon, are you okay with that response? You might need to type an answer. So we've got a couple of people with hands up. So Gabby, are you actually going to ask a question? Yeah.
I just wanted to say, Sue, that I seem to be the only, oh no, there's 2 practitioners here in Sydney, and it feels a bit lonely at the coalface sometimes, but I wanted to share with everybody, about 2 years ago, I think it was, Sue, we had a weekend away on the central coast of New South Wales in this beautiful environment. It was like a retreat centre that we had.
Yeah.
And
that was an Asui Reiki network thing, not an ARC thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes.
Sorry. So just to clarify for people, when Gabby mentioned there are only a couple of people in Sydney, she was referring to active Asui Reiki network practitioners, because a lot of our past graduates there are from many years ago. So that's to put that into context. There are quite a few ARC people in Sydney. So we can talk about that outside this and organise something for you. Okay. So Anne had a question.
It's not a question. It's more, the older I get, the more I like to share how we can live life. Like I mentioned, I discovered Reiki in 97. And in 99, I discovered reflexology. Never had a treatment, didn't know what it was, but signed up for the introductory course. And with both of them since then, I've seen so many amazing results and changes in people's lives, and physical, emotional. It's amazing. And I'd like to share as well, I'm now 75 and a month and a half. Hey, yes. We can still have a life to live.
I think 70s are the new 40s.
Well, exactly. But I can still do a headstand with yoga and sitting on the floor and with my legs straight, putting my hands on my heels and my nose on my knees, and which I couldn't do in my early 20s. I saw other older women in the 40s do it. And I thought, well, and I loved gymnastics already then, but now I can do it. It's never too late to learn. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So
You're welcome.
do we have any other questions? Oh, it sounds like Savitsa's got a question.
I actually just want to go back to Sharon's. She typed in a chat. Should I still look at trying to practice meditation on its own? I would say yes, because it can't hurt. It can just add on to your self-care if you have time. I would say any free time, rather spend it meditating than scrolling. So short answer, yes. Why not?
And actually, apropos to that, so Asui actually asked us to practice Reiki on ourselves with meditation, meditating on the precepts. So you can turn those precepts into almost like a mental mantra, or you can even chant them aloud and have your hands on yourself doing self Reiki. And that's one of the easiest ways to do meditation and Reiki as one thing. And so it's not, you know, if you try other forms of meditation, and I thoroughly recommend them because there are some very good ways that you can develop different meditative practices. But if we want to live Reiki, what Asui asked us to do was do Reiki while we meditate on those precepts. And so I do that every day. And I find that's really, for me, it's been hugely beneficial. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I do, Sue, as well. That's my morning routine.
Yeah. Okay.
Shady had a question, I think.
Shadi. Hi.
Yeah, thank you for everyone presenting this morning. Gabby, you mentioned medical Reiki and scientific research. That's something that I'm super, super, super passionate about, interested in. If you want, I have a bunch of research articles that have been done. I constantly look for new ones. On my website, I have a whole section just dedicated to research articles, and I put together a lot of papers about it. So if that is something that you are keen and interested in, let me know. The girls, you've got my details. I'm happy to shoot you some information on that because I love it. It's just so fascinating. Yeah.
Very much. I would be interested in that kind offer.
No problem. I think we are sort of close to the finish. It's 11 a.m. And just, Sue, would you like to end the session? And
it's been really lovely having everybody here today. And from my heart, I want to say thank you. It's been very informative and interesting. And I want to thank everybody who was here today sharing and contributing. So obviously our presenters specifically, but to all of you. So Gabby and Slavica, my very sincere thanks. It's lovely to have been part of your presentation and being able to hear your insights. And to everybody else who attended, you contribute not just by answering questions or raising questions, but simply by being here and sharing part of your enthusiasm and your energy for what it is that we all love to do with Reiki. Everybody is cool, calm and collected and looking forward to the rest of their Sunday. I just say thank you all again very much, and I bid you many Reiki blessings